The night was cold, the kind that made bones ache and breath visible in the air. Two girls, barely in their 20s, huddled together under a torn blanket near an alley. Life hadn't been kind to them, no family, no home, just each other. They survived by picking up odd jobs, sometimes begging, but always staying together no matter what. One of them, the taller one with sharp eyes, kept watch while the other, smaller but tougher, tried to sleep. They had learned the hard way that streets weren't safe, especially after dark. Just as the smaller one was about to drift off, a loud screech of tires shattered the silence. A black luxury car swerved violently, skidding across the wet road before crashing into a lamppost. The impact was brutal, metal twisted, glass shattered. The girls exchanged a look. Most people would run, not wanting trouble. But something inside them, maybe the memory of being ignored too many times, pushed them forward. They rushed toward the wreck. The air smelled of burning rubber and gasoline. The taller one yanked the car door open while the smaller one checked for a pulse. Inside, a man in an expensive suit was slumped over the wheel, blood trickling down his forehead. He was unconscious but alive. "We need to get him out before this thing blows," the smaller girl shouted. Together, they pulled the man free just as smoke started rising from the hood. They dragged him to a safe distance just as a faint siren echoed in the distance. The man groaned, his eyelids fluttering. When he finally focused, he saw two dirty, exhausted faces staring down at him. The taller girl pressed a cloth to his bleeding forehead while the smaller one kept saying, "Stay awake, don't close your eyes." The police and ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over, but before they loaded him into the ambulance, the man grabbed the taller girl's wrist weakly. "You saved me," he muttered. Then darkness took him again. The girls thought that was the end of it. Just another strange night. But fate had other plans. The next morning, as they sat near a dumpster sharing a stale piece of bread, a sleek car pulled up beside them. A well-dressed man stepped out, the same man from the crash, now cleaned up, a bandage on his forehead. He looked at them, his expression unreadable. Then he said the words they never expected. "You saved my life. Now let me help yours." The girls stared at the man, suspicion flashing in their eyes. People like him didn't just help people like them. The streets had taught them that much. The taller one crossed her arms. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice sharp. The man didn't flinch. "I told you," he said calmly. "You saved me. Now I want to return the favor." The smaller girl scoffed. "Yeah? And what's the catch?" The man sighed, looking around at the grimy alley, the dumpster, the cold pavement they called home. "No catch," he said. "Just a warm meal, a hot shower, and a place to sleep. After that, if you want to leave, you can." The girls exchanged glances. A warm meal alone was tempting. But trust didn't come easy. The taller one narrowed her eyes. "Why should we believe you?" The man reached into his pocket. Both girls tensed, ready to run, but he only pulled out a business card. "This is me," he said, handing it over. "If anything happens, you can report me. But I swear, I just want to help." The smaller girl snatched the card, squinting at it. Fancy name, fancy address. She had seen enough rich people to know this was the real deal. After a long silence, the taller girl finally nodded. "One night," she said. "That's it." The man smiled slightly. "Fair enough." The car ride was surreal. The seats were softer than any bed they'd ever slept on. The smell of leather and expensive cologne filled the air. The girls sat stiffly, clutching their tattered backpacks like armor. The man didn't pry. He just asked their names. "We don't give those out," the smaller girl said quickly. He nodded, as if he understood. "Then what should I call you?" The taller one hesitated. You can call me Ace, she said finally. The smaller one smirked. And I'm Spades. The man raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. His house was unreal. A mansion, really. Marble floors, chandeliers, everything shining like a movie set. The girls froze in the doorway, suddenly aware of their dirty clothes and worn-out shoes. A woman in a neat uniform approached. Sir, shall I prepare the guest rooms? The man nodded. And bring some food, please. Something hearty. The girls followed him warily, their eyes darting everywhere. Spades nudged Ace. You think he's some kind of mob boss, she whispered. Ace didn't answer. She was too busy watching the man's every move, looking for the lie. The food came, real food. Hot, delicious, more than they'd had in months. They ate like they were afraid it would disappear. The man sat across from them, sipping water, not rushing them. Finally, Ace put her fork down. Okay, she said. Who are you really? The man leaned back. I own a few companies, he said. But that's not important. What's important is that you two didn't have to save me. But you did. Spades wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. So this is, what, charity? No, the man said. It's a choice. You can stay here, get cleaned up, rest. Or you can walk out right now. Up to you. Ace studied him. His eyes were steady, no flicker of deceit. Maybe, just maybe, he meant it. Spades, always the bolder one, grinned. Fine. But if you try anything weird, I'm stabbing you with a fork. The man actually laughed. Fair warning. That night, for the first time in years, they slept in real beds. Soft pillows, warm blankets, no fear of being woken up by cops or thieves. But as Ace lay there, staring at the ceiling, one thought nagged at her. Nothing this good ever lasts. Morning light spilled through the curtains, warm and golden, something Ace hadn't seen in years. She sat up sharply, momentarily forgetting where she was. The bed was too soft, the room too quiet. Then it all came rushing back, the crash, the mansion, the man who claimed he just wanted to help. Next to her, Spades was still dead asleep, sprawled across the mattress like she owned it. Ace shook her shoulder. Hey! Wake up! Spades groaned, swatting at her. 5 more minutes. Ace yanked the blanket off. We're not alone here. Stay sharp. Spades blinked up at the ceiling, then smirked. Right. Because evil millionaires serve steak dinners before murdering people. Ace didn't laugh. She moved to the window, peering outside. Perfectly trimmed gardens, a fountain, a high gate. No easy exits. A knock at the door made both girls tense. Come in, Ace called, hand curling into a fist. The door opened, and the same uniformed woman from last night stepped in. Good morning, she said politely. Sir asked if you'd like breakfast downstairs or in your rooms. Spade sat up, suddenly alert. Downstairs. Definitely downstairs. The dining table was piled with food, eggs, toast, fruit, things Ace had only seen in grocery store windows. Spades didn't hesitate, loading her plate like it might vanish. Ace ate slower, watching. The man entered, dressed in a crisp shirt, no tie. He looked tired but smiled when he saw them. Sleep well? Spades spoke through a mouthful of pancakes. Best bed ever. Ace set her fork down. Why are you really doing this? The man sighed, pouring himself coffee. Would you believe me if I said I was once where you are? Spade snorted. Yeah, right. But Ace noticed the way his grip tightened on the cup. After breakfast, the man showed them around. Library, gym, even a damn home theater. Spades whistled. You live like this alone? The man's smile faded. Not always. Ace caught the shift but didn't press. Then he led them to a room at the end of the hall. Inside was a piano, dust-covered. Spades poked a key. You play? The man didn't answer for a long moment. My daughter did. The air went still. Ace understood then. This wasn't just a house. It was a tomb. Later, while Spades explored the kitchen, they have 5 fridges, Ace found the man in his study. She's gone, isn't she? Ace said quietly. The man didn't pretend to misunderstand. Car accident. 2 years ago. He looked at a photo on the desk, a young girl, grinning. You reminded me of her. The way you helped me, no questions asked. Ace shifted, uncomfortable. We're not her. I know. He met her eyes. But you're someone. That night, Spades flopped onto Ace's bed. Okay, rich guy's sad. What's the play? Ace stared at the ceiling. We stay. For now. Spades grinned. Hell yeah. Free food. But as Ace listened to the house creak around them, she wondered which of them was really saving whom. A week passed in a blur of hot meals and soft beds. Spades had already raided the mansion's movie collection twice, while Ace spent her time memorizing exits. Old habits died hard. The man, they still didn't call him by his name, left them alone for the most part. He worked long hours but always made sure the cook left extra food. Then, on the 8th night, everything changed. Ace was in the library, flipping through a book she couldn't really read, when she heard voices in the hall. Absolutely unacceptable. A woman's voice, sharp as broken glass. Do you even realize who those girls are? Ace froze. The man's response was calm. They're children who need help. You're being naive. The woman's heels clicked closer. I've seen their faces before. They're wanted for. Ace didn't wait to hear the rest. She bolted upstairs, taking the steps 2 at a time. Spades was sprawled on her bed, playing with some fancy handheld game console she'd found. She looked up when Ace slammed the door. We need to go. Now. Spades blinked. Why? That woman downstairs, she knows us. Ace was already shoving clothes into a bag. From the convenience store job. Spades went pale. 6 months ago, they'd taken a night shift at a 24-hour mart. When the register came up short the next morning, the manager blamed them. They ran before the cops came, but not before the security cameras got clear shots of their faces. Spades jumped up. Shit. How'd she recognize us? Doesn't matter. Ace threw Spades her jacket. Window. Now. They were halfway down the trellis when a voice stopped them. Going somewhere? The man stood below, arms crossed. Behind him, the angry woman glared. Spades swallowed hard. Look, we can explain. You stole from your last employer, the woman snapped. And now you're taking advantage of my brother's grief. Brother? Ace's grip tightened on the trellis. The man held up a hand. Enough. He looked at the girls. Get down. Let's talk. The study smelled like old books and expensive whiskey. The woman, now introduced as the man's sister, paced like a caged tiger. You'll call the police, she demanded. No. The man sat heavily in his chair. They're just kids. Who broke the law? Ace finally spoke. We didn't take that money. Spades nodded fiercely. Some night guy did. We just got blamed, 'cause we were the easy targets. The sister scoffed. Convenient story. The man rubbed his temples. Leave us. His sister gaped. You can't be serious. Now. With one last glare, she stormed out. Silence. Then the man reached into his desk drawer. Ace tensed, but he only pulled out a file. I know you didn't steal that money, he said quietly. Spades blinked. Wait, how? He slid a photo across the desk. It showed a lanky man in a store uniform sneaking into the back office. My security team ran your backgrounds after you saved me. Found the real thief. Ace's breath caught. You believed us? The man's smile was tired. I know what it's like to be judged for things you didn't do. Later, after the man promised to clear their names, Spades flopped onto her bed with a groan. Well, that was dramatic. Ace stared out the window. Something didn't add up. Why go through all that trouble for us? Spades shrugged. Maybe he's just a decent guy. Or maybe, Ace thought, everyone had an angle. She just hadn't found his yet. The next morning, the man called them into his study. The air smelled of coffee and worn leather, and sunlight streamed through the tall windows. Ace kept her arms crossed, ready for the other shoe to drop. Spades, on the other hand, was already eyeing the plate of pastries on the side table. So, she said, grabbing a croissant, are we getting kicked out or what? The man leaned back in his chair. Actually, I want to make you an offer. Ace tensed. What kind of offer? He slid 2 envelopes across the desk. Open them. Inside each was a crisp document, admission forms to a local community college, along with a housing stipend. Spades nearly choked on her food. Wait, school? You're joking. The man's expression didn't change. I've already spoken to the registrar. Your records will be cleared, and you'll have full tuition covered. Ace stared at the papers. This wasn't just charity, it was a plan. A future. Something she hadn't let herself think about in years. Why? She asked again, voice low. The man sighed. Because someone once gave me a chance when I didn't deserve one. He tapped the photo of his daughter on the desk. She'd want me to do this. Spades shifted uncomfortably. Look, that's cool and all, but we're not charity cases. Then think of it as a business deal, the man said. You get an education. You work hard. And if you want, you can pay me back someday. Ace studied him. There was no pity in his eyes, just quiet expectation. Like he already knew they were capable of more than surviving. Spades glanced at Ace. You actually considering this? Ace didn't answer right away. But for the first time in forever, she let herself imagine it, a real life, not just another day scraping by. That afternoon, they walked into town, the form still burning a hole in Ace's pocket. The man had given them space to decide, but Spades had been unusually quiet the whole way. You're really thinking about saying yes, Spades finally said as they passed a thrift store. Ace shrugged. You got a better idea? Spades kicked a pebble. We've been fine on our own. Fine? Ace stopped walking. We sleep in alleys and eat trash. That's not fine. Spades' jaw tightened. At least it's ours. At least no one can take it away. Ace understood then. Spades wasn't just being stubborn, she was scared. Trusting people had only ever hurt them before. Before Ace could respond, a voice cut through the street noise. Well, look who's all cleaned up. Ace spun around. Him. The night manager from the convenience store, the one who'd blamed them for the missing cash. He stood there in his stained work shirt, smirking. Heard you two got yourselves a sugar daddy. Spade stepped forward, fists clenched. You set us up, you slimy. The manager laughed. Prove it. He leaned in, breath reeking of cigarettes. But hey, maybe your rich friend doesn't know about the other stuff you've stolen, huh? Ace's blood ran cold. Because he was right. They had stolen before. Not much, just food when they were starving, clothes when theirs had fallen apart. Things no one would miss. But if the man found out? The manager grinned, sensing their fear. Thought so. He pulled out a phone. Maybe I should give him a call. Spades moved like lightning, snatching the phone and smashing it on the pavement. The manager roared, grabbing her arm. You little. Ace was already pulling Spades back. Run. They didn't stop until they were 3 blocks away, lungs burning. Spades was shaking. He's gonna tell him. That guy's gonna ruin everything. Ace's mind raced. They could leave now, disappear before the man heard the truth. But for the first time, the thought of running didn't feel like freedom. It felt like surrender. Spades wiped her face roughly. We gotta go, Ace. Before. Before what? Ace snapped. Before we actually get something good? Spades looked at her like she'd grown a second head. You heard him. If the rich guy finds out we're not some perfect little angels. Then maybe we tell him first, Ace said quietly. Spades stared. You're out of your mind. But Ace was already walking back toward the mansion, heart pounding. Because if this was really a chance at a new life, they couldn't start it with a lie. The walk back to the mansion felt longer than usual. Every step made Ace's stomach twist tighter. Spades trailed behind her, muttering under her breath about stupid decisions and runaway mouths. As they reached the front gate, Ace hesitated. The grand house suddenly looked less like a refuge and more like a courtroom. Spades grabbed her arm. Last chance to bail. Ace shook her head. We're doing this. The man was in his study, paperwork spread across his desk. He looked up when they entered, taking in their tense expressions. Something wrong? Ace's mouth went dry. She forced the words out. We need to tell you something. Spades crossed her arms, staring at the floor. The man leaned back, waiting. Ace took a deep breath. We have stolen before. Not money, never money. But food. Clothes. Things we needed to survive. Her voice didn't shake. You should know who you're really helping. Silence stretched like a wire about to snap. Then the man did something unexpected, he laughed. Not a cruel laugh, but a tired, knowing one. You think I didn't know that? Spades' head jerked up. Wait, what? He rubbed his eyes. You've been homeless for years. Of course you've stolen to eat. Hell, I stole a loaf of bread my first week on the streets. Ace blinked. You? Didn't I tell you? The man's smile was grim. I wasn't always like this. My first company failed when I was 24. Lost everything. Slept under a bridge for 6 months. Spades gaped. No way. He opened a drawer, pulling out an old, creased photo, a younger version of himself, hollow-cheeked, standing outside a shelter. The only difference between you and me is that someone gave me a second chance. He tapped the college applications. Now I'm giving you one. Ace felt something loosen in her chest. The relief didn't last long. That evening, as they sat in the kitchen eating takeout, the doorbell rang. The housekeeper answered, then hurried in, face pale. Sir, there's a man at the gate. He's making threats. Ace's chopsticks clattered to the table. The man sighed. Let me guess. Former convenience store manager. The housekeeper nodded. Spades shot up. I'll handle this. No. The man stood, rolling up his sleeves. We will. The manager was red-faced at the gate, shouting about thieves and lawsuits. When he saw the girls, his eyes lit up with malice. There they are. Those little. The man cut him off. I know everything. The manager faltered. Then you know they're criminals. Actually, the man said calmly, I know you framed them. He pulled out his phone. My investigator found the real thief, your night stock boy. You knew, but blamed these girls because they were easy targets. The manager's face drained of color. That's bullshit. The man tapped his screen. Want to see the security footage we recovered? Or should I send it to your corporate office first? The manager took a step back. Spades grinned. Oops. Guess your plan backfired, huh? The man's voice turned icy. Leave. Now. Or I ruin you. For a second, the manager looked ready to argue. Then he spat on the ground and stormed off. Back inside, Spades was practically vibrating. Did you see his face? Priceless. Ace turned to the man. You really had proof this whole time? He shrugged. I told you, I looked into your past. His expression softened. Everyone's done things they're not proud of to survive. What matters is who you choose to be now. Spades flopped onto the couch. So what's next, oh wise mentor? The man picked up the forgotten college applications. Now? He held them out. You choose. Ace took the papers, feeling their weight. For the first time in her life, the future wasn't something happening to her, it was something she could grab hold of. Spades nudged her. Well? We doing this or what? Ace looked at her best friend, then at the man who'd given them more than just a roof over their heads. She took the pen. The campus was bigger than Ace had imagined. Students rushed past them in every direction, backpacks slung over shoulders, laughter ringing through the autumn air. She clutched her class schedule tighter, suddenly feeling out of place in her second-hand sweater and thrift store jeans. Spades elbowed her. Stop looking like you're about to bolt. We belong here as much as these rich kids. Ace forced her shoulders to relax. Easy for you to say. You're not taking remedial math. Spades grinned. Hey, at least you can spell remedial. The man, who'd insisted they finally call him by his name, Daniel, had set them up with everything, dorm rooms, meal plans, even tutors. But standing there on the bustling quad, Ace couldn't shake the feeling that any second now, someone would point at them and shout, frauds. The first week passed in a blur of syllabi and awkward introductions. Ace spent evenings hunched over textbooks in the library, determined not to waste this chance. Spades, true to form, charmed her way into a group of art students who didn't care about her past. Then came the email. Meet me at the coffee shop near campus. 4 p.m., important. No signature. Ace showed Spades the message. You think it's Daniel? Spades frowned. He'd just call. The coffee shop smelled like burnt beans and cinnamon. Ace spotted the woman immediately, Daniel's sister, perched at a corner table like a hawk waiting to strike. Ace slid into the seat across from her. You wanted to talk. The woman, Lillian, Ace remembered, stirred her untouched latte. You've been in my brother's life for 2 months now. Her manicured nails tapped the cup. I want to know your endgame. Ace bristled. There is no endgame. Lillian's smile didn't reach her eyes. Everyone wants something. My brother's grief makes him vulnerable. But I'm not so easily fooled. Ace's pulse pounded in her ears. She'd faced cops, hunger, freezing nights, but this woman's quiet disdain cut deeper. Daniel helped us, Ace said carefully. We're trying to do right by that. Lillian leaned forward. Then you'll understand when I say this, once the semester ends, it's time for you to go. Ace didn't tell Spades about the threat. Instead, she threw herself into studying, as if acing every test could somehow prove their worth. But Daniel noticed. "You've been quiet," he remarked one evening during their weekly dinner at his house. Spades was too busy devouring garlic bread to pick up on the tension. Ace pushed food around her plate. "Just school stuff." Daniel studied her. "Lillian contacted you." Spades choked on her drink. "What?" Ace shot Daniel a look. "How did you?" "Because she did the same thing with the last person I tried to help." Daniel's voice was tight. "She thinks she's protecting me." Spades slammed her fork down. "So what, we're just supposed to?" "No." Daniel's fist clenched on the table. "You're not going anywhere." For the first time, Ace saw the steel beneath his calm exterior. This wasn't just kindness, it was defiance. The next morning, campus security found Ace between classes. "There's a man asking about you," the officer said. "Says he's family?" Ice flooded Ace's veins. "No. Not now." Because there was only one man who'd ever claimed that title. The security officer's words echoed in Ace's skull. A man claiming to be family. There was only one person it could be. Spades grabbed her arm the second the officer left. "No way. Absolutely not. We're calling Daniel." Ace shook her head, already walking toward the campus gates. "I handle this myself." "But." "I said myself." The snap in Ace's voice made Spades recoil. Immediately, guilt twisted in Ace's gut. She softened her tone. "Just, stay here. Please." Spades looked like she wanted to argue, but after a tense moment, nodded. He stood near the bus stop, same as he had the last time Ace saw him, 3 years ago, when he'd taken the rent money and vanished for good. Same cracked leather jacket. Same cigarette dangling from his lips. "Hey, kid." Her father grinned, showing yellowed teeth. "Look at you. All fancy with the college shit." Ace crossed her arms, refusing to let him see her shake. "What do you want?" He blew smoke upward. "Heard you hit the jackpot. Some rich guy taking care of you." His eyes gleamed. "Figured you could spare some for your old man." "Of course. It was always about money." Ace's nails dug into her palms. "Get lost." His grin vanished. "That any way to talk to your father?" "You stopped being that when you left us to starve," Ace hissed. For a second, something flickered in his eyes, shame, maybe. But it was gone fast. "Listen, I just need a little." "No." A new voice cut through the tension. Daniel stood there, Spades at his side. Ace shot Spades a betrayed look, but Spades just lifted her chin. "You're not doing this alone." Ace's father sized Daniel up. Well. The sugar daddy himself." Daniel didn't react to the jab. "Ace has nothing for you. Leave." "Or what?" Her father stepped closer. "You'll call the cops?" "Go ahead. Tell them how you're housing 2 runaway minors." Ace froze. "Minors?" Daniel went very still. "How did you?" "Lillian's a chatty one when she's drinking." Her father smirked. "Told me all about how you're using these girls to replace your dead kid." The words hung in the air like poison. Spades lunged. "You son of a..." Daniel caught her arm. "Don't." Ace's father laughed. "See? Even now he's playing daddy." He turned to Ace. "You really buying this act? He doesn't care about you. You're just..." "Enough." Daniel's voice was quiet but carried terrifying weight. He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police. You can explain to them how you abandoned your underage daughter. How you've been evading child support. How you," he tapped the screen, "have an outstanding warrant in 3 states. Ace's father paled. "You're bluffing." Daniel hit dial. "Try me." For a long moment, no one moved. Then, with a snarl, Ace's father backed away. "This isn't over." Daniel didn't lower the phone until the man was out of sight. Silence followed. Ace couldn't look at Daniel. That accusation, using them to replace his daughter, echoed in her head. Spade spoke first. "So, Lillian's a real piece of work, huh?" Daniel exhaled sharply. "I'll deal with my sister." He turned to Ace. "As for what he said, don't." Ace finally met his eyes. "Just, tell me the truth. Are we," her voice cracked, "are we just replacements to you?" Daniel's face did something complicated. Then, slowly, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a worn photograph. Not of his daughter, but of a teenage boy standing beside a younger Daniel on a sidewalk, both grinning. "That's Marcus," Daniel said softly. "The someone who gave me a second chance when I was homeless. He died last year. Overdosed." He swallowed hard. "I couldn't save him. But when I saw you too." He shook his head. "This isn't about replacing anyone. It's about honoring what was given to me." Ace stared at the photo. The pieces clicked, Daniel's patience, his refusal to give up on them. Not guilt. Gratitude. Spade sniffled. "Well, shit. Now I feel like an asshole." Daniel laughed wetly. "Join the club." Epilogue, 6 months later. The courtroom was stuffy, but Ace didn't fidget as the judge stamped the papers. "Congratulations," the woman said, smiling. "It's official." Daniel, now dad on the adoption documents, pulled both girls into a hug. Behind them, Lillian stood quietly. She'd apologized in her own stiff way, even helping expedite the legal process. Outside, sunlight streamed through the trees. Spades, no, Callie, the name she'd chosen to reclaim, spun in a circle, laughing. "We're legit now. No more fake IDs." Ace, Anya, her real name for the first time in years, smiled. It still felt strange, having a home. A family. A future. But maybe, she thought as Daniel ruffled her hair, strange wasn't bad. Maybe it was just the beginning.